And welcome in to Three Ring Circus, our new show here at DNVR Broncos. Episode 2 here. We're really excited. Got some really fun games today, an awesome special guest, and some great Broncos talk coming your way. Quick reminder to everyone, if you're watching on Periscope, we highly recommend you switch over to YouTube. It's a higher stream quality. And you get to hear us and look at us even better. And once you get over to YouTube, hit us with a like, hit us with a subscribe. You can even sign up for alerts. But without further ado, why don't we just jump right in here and bring on our guest from The Athletic, Lindsay Jones.
Woo! What's up, guys? How's it going?
What's going on? Thanks for joining us. This will be
Sure.
fun.
Happy to be in the circus. And I just watched last week's episode, so I'm ready to dunk on James Palmer.
Oh, good.
Let's go.
He needs some humbling, actually. The question that everyone is asking, though, is where does Lena think Deshaun Watson is going to end up?
Oh, yeah. I have not gotten her full take on the quarterback carousel yet. I was on a Zoom with it was like a women of the NFL happy hour the other night. And so some people asked her if she's going to do a mock draft. So we'll see if we can get a 4-year-old 7-round mock draft. Yeah, she did pick the Texans a lot last year for some reason. So Lena's my 4-year-old daughter. For those who didn't know, and she
You're
got
living under a rock.
It's my best Twitter content by far. Is my daughter's NFL picks. She did pick the Texans a lot. I don't really know why, because she actually has been to Texas. She doesn't remember it. She went to the Super Bowl, or she came to see me when I was at the Super Bowl in Houston a few years ago when she was 6 months old. So she does not remember. But and James and I have talked about this a lot, is as a national reporter who lives in Denver, all you really want is the team in your backyard to be relevant. And that means they can either be really good and relevant and interesting, or really bad. And because, that means you can stay home, and James is a dad and I'm a mom. And the more time you're able to, just hop on I-25, or in my case, I live right off of Arapahoe Road. So it's just kind of a short drive from one side of Centennial to the other to get to Broncos, rather than driving all the way to DIA and getting on a plane, the better. So look, if Deshaun Watson ends up in Denver, it would be great for the Broncos, and it would be great for all of us. So for a pure story perspective, let's go. Let's get this done. They're clearing cap space. I know though, Mace, you've kind of gotten into how clearing the cap space isn't quite, they're not clearing as much room as really, I think, because they're going to have to spend some of that money. But look, why not? Why not the Broncos, right? Why not?
Exactly.
Well, why not? Yeah.
George
and for
Payton
this year, they all have to clear that much for Deshaun. It's about $10.45 million, of course, like you mentioned, Lindsay. But I am curious to see if, when they get into next month, they say, all right, we're going to kind of just leave this space open just in case we can pull that off, because they can get some done, but not everything done. So that's going to be something to watch for the next few weeks, I think.
Yeah, and you kind of have to, because look, from everything that is being reported, everything that all of us are hearing, nothing is happening with Deshaun Watson soon. And, I think teams can be calling and leaving voicemails with the various Texans. I can only imagine their voicemail system. It's press 1 for Nick Caserio, press 2 for David Culley, plus 3 to leave your offer. Pay attention because the menu options have changed. They're leaving their voicemail offers for what they'll sell, and maybe they'll get blown away. Maybe somebody is going to offer, the Ricky Williams package or whatever, offer something insane, and they'll actually play that voicemail. Although if they're like any of us, how old is Nick Caserio? He's early 40s.
I believe so. Yeah.
So he's like Gen X. He's not a millennial. Because if he was a millennial, there's no way in hell he'd even be listening to those voicemails. He would just be trying to transcribe it and then delete it. I'm barely a millennial and I don't listen to my voicemails. So they're probably just swiping and deleting all of that. But, so that's the thing. This Watson stuff is not going to happen quickly.
Yeah.
This is a very long and drawn out process where, maybe by the draft, that's kind of a deadline. And then look, he seems very positioned to be dug in here. And I don't think this is one of these things where all of a sudden training camp's going to open and they're going to have one meeting and kumbaya and everything's good. Like, he seems to be digging in and saying, I'll sit out. Like, and there's very few guys that have the leverage to do that, have the financial capital to do that, have the kind social and influential capital to do that. And he's one of the very rarely or uniquely positioned guys that he could, do something that really just shifts the NFL landscape. So as much as it's, we want to dream about trade proposals and blockbuster stuff happening in March, with Watson specifically, it feels like it could be a really long and drawn out process. So good for, hours and hours and months of podcast fodder, I guess, right?
We have a saying on this show: all roads lead to Deshaun Watson. We didn't even make it 1 minute into the show, although that was 100% my fault. Let's actually jump into our game here, as that will guide us to some other topics and maybe some more Deshaun Watson talk. We'll have to see. The game, Lindsay, is called Who Tweeted That?
Ooh.
So you're going to see a tweet with the name and picture kind of blurred out there. Okay. And you're going to have to guess. Are
these like players, local media members?
Boom. There you go.
All of the above?
Those are the two categories.
Okay, perfect.
She did watch last week's show.
You guys are going to find out real quickly how many of the local media members I have muted.
Oh, that's good. Hopefully we're
in you guys. So
that could be good for this game.
All right, producer Allie, if you wouldn't mind bringing up the first tweet.
One to start with, maybe an easy one.
Who tweeted it?
What is it?
Yeah. Is it the team's account?
No.
No. Okay, I don't know. I need to get warmed up here.
Well, who is it?
It's Vaughn, right?
Yes.
Yep.
It's Vaughn's body.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Was it Vaughn who tweeted it?
It was
Vaughn who tweeted it himself. Okay.
That was Vaughn who tweeted his freakish legs.
Yeah.
Just insane. The quads eating the knees.
Yeah, if you zoom into that, it's like going down like a weird rabbit hole where you're like, what? It doesn't look right.
That's why I thought maybe it could have been like the at Broncos. That's why I thought maybe it could have gone that direction.
It was. It was like going to be one
remember when Vaughn
two.
Was healthy and practicing?
And it was sure that he was going to be a Bronco, and I guess that's the.
It was a simpler time, wasn't it?
Yes, it was August, much simpler time. But that leads.
All right, I'm going to get better here. All right.
No, the question though that leads to is, what do you think is going to happen with Vaughn? Where do you think he stands with the Broncos, and how do you think this ends?
Yeah, I mean, I really think since the day that he got hurt last year, I'd kind of been preparing myself that we would never see him in a Broncos uniform again until, he's eventually back here retiring as a Bronco and going to the Ring of Fame and all of that sort of stuff. I kind of just thought that was it, that they wouldn't bring him back. Certainly at the contract that he's on right now, that it would take some sort of restructure. What they really need to do now is get younger and cheaper on defense, and he is neither of those things. And then the fact that now you have a new general manager, you're kind of at a completely different spot organizationally than you were a year ago, where I think this time a year ago, or maybe not even this time, but, certainly last summer, I think the Broncos thought they were in a position to really, start competing in AFC West. And I think what happened last year is you're further away from that you were the year before, which is frustrating, I think, for everybody involved. So, I don't see this necessarily ending in a spot where he's back. Although the one thing is he'll be at the top of the free agent list of, if he becomes an unrestricted free agent, if they don't pick up that option, he will have offers out there, but he's not going to be as highly sought after as he would have if he was hitting the market this time last year, where he wasn't coming off of, an injury and surgery. There weren't off-field questions swirling about what, 6 months ago, it was like everybody loves Vaughn, zero off-field questions about Vaughn. And now there's this investigation, in Parker, a lot of stuff that's happened this offseason that's been really unsavory and a really bad look for Vaughn. So maybe they are able to bring him back at a lesser deal. Maybe he decides this is the best place for him. He doesn't want to go start somewhere else at age 33. Is he 33 now? Which is bonkers. All these guys make me feel really, just makes me feel old now, right? So, I mean, I guess like maybe the doors open a little bit more now, and they do have a little bit more financial freedom than I thought maybe they were going to. But I've been preparing myself for a long time that Vaughn would be playing somewhere else in 2021, and I still think that's probably going to be the case.
And Lindsay, really quick off that, one of the things James said last week was what we could see this year is some super teams created where guys like Von Miller go and take a discount to go win one really quick, and also a prove it year for guys like Von to go show. Do you see that happening this year potentially as well?
Yeah, I do. It's going to be such an interesting market. And you guys maybe saw yesterday, the annual agents meeting was happening yesterday that normally happens in Indianapolis at the Combine. And the most interesting thing that came out of that meeting was DeMaurice Smith kind of telling agents basically to collude with each other to like make sure that salaries don't completely plummet. And look, there's nothing preventing workers from telling each other what they make. And it's actually a really good idea, if any industry that you work in to, have some sort of pay equity study and find out what it's uncomfortable to talk about, but it's actually a good thing to know what your coworkers are making because it will help everybody. So there's nothing illegal about telling the players, agents, like, hey, you guys should work together because that there's a lot of teams that are going to try to cry poor and are going to make salaries plummet. And especially, and there's going to be several positions probably, like you could see like the inside linebacker market tanking because there's not a ton of value there in terms of where the analytics tell you to spend your money, right?
It's good for the Broncos.
Right. Yes. I mean, from a team perspective, you're going to be able to get a lot of these guys cheap. So I think what's going to be from a free agent market perspective is going to be really interesting to me is the cap is what everybody talks about, right? It's all about where is the salary cap going to be? Is it going to be 182, 184, somewhere in that 180 to 185? I don't think it's going to get all the way to 185, but we now know that the floor is 180. They raised it last week from 175. So it's still going to be a significant drop from last year, which was like 198.5 million last year. Now it's going to be down 182, 183, let's say. So that's a significant drop, right? The cap matters, but what really matters and what always matters, this is always the case, but it's going to be especially true this year, is cash. And who has the cash to spend and who is willing to spend it, especially after a year where there were these massive revenue losses. And there's going to be a lot of teams that they're not going to spend up to the cap. They're not going to spend all their cash, but there are going to be teams that are going to figure out ways to manipulate the cap, and they're going to spend all the cash that they have. And those are the teams that will try to maybe build these kind of super teams where they believe they're one or two veterans away, that they're a JJ Watt or a Von Miller or Allen Robinson kind of deal away. And the other side that I think is going to be interesting is those guys that are now maybe seeking their big contract, their second contract. Will they be willing to take a shorter deal, maybe more guarantees up front in a 1 year or 2 year deal, or a 1 year deal that's all front loaded with a team option to get out after a second year? Usually guys will want the long-term security, will want their a lot of money up front, obviously, but they want to say that they signed one of the longest, richest deals. And when you know that the cap is going to go back up in 2022, these TV deals are going to get done. Fans are going to be back in stadiums next year. Maybe not 100% full. I think it would be naive for any of us to expect that 2021 is going to look like 2019 did. But revenues are going to be back up next year, in large part because of the TV deals. So you bet on yourself. You take a shorter deal. You go somewhere where you think you can chase a ring right away. You want to go to Kansas City. You want to go to Buffalo. You want to go to Green Bay. New Orleans gets a new quarterback, and all of a sudden that's a place where they're really good at manipulating the cap. So it's going to be a really wild month. And the other thing, I know I keep adding things to this free agency, all this free agency.
We want all your info.
Yeah.
But usually we'd be in Indy right now, right? And like while the 40-yard dash and all that stuff is exciting, and like the TV workouts or whatever, what really happens in Indy is all of the networking and the tampering, all of those meetings. Usually this time of year, it's just nothing but rumors, right? Where you have to sift through what's true or what's not, but usually come out of Indy. We, as the media, come out of Indy, have an idea, but the agents really know what the market's going to look like. And that's not really happening right now. I mean, there's some of those calls that are happening where you can call and, somebody from CAA is calling the Broncos to find out about one of their clients. And while you're there, you start talking about all the other guys and what the market might look like. But this is going to be the biggest wild card free agency year that we've had, because just far fewer of those conversations have started happening now. So that actual legal tampering period might be really wild. You know how usually the last couple of years, it's been the first hour of the legal tampering period, deals are done.
Yeah.
There's actually going to be a lot more of deals starting to happen instead of the preliminary conversations, instead of the, virtual handshake at that point. So it's going to be nuts, basically.
The only thing that was wrong with what Demore Smith said was the setting, right? There's nothing wrong with saying this food is bomb unless you're in an airport.
You can't use the word "this is bomb." It just.
Oh, that's out?
Yeah.
Is that old? That's an older generation thing? I mean, I
don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't. He shouldn't use it. He's probably too old to use it. He's older than I am. I mean, I certainly can't use it.
Okay. Real quick on Vaughn, one more thing. Malik Reed, of course, had a productive season last year. So we talk about saving cash, like you mentioned. So for the Broncos, how much is that going to factor in the decision, knowing that, hey, they got a pretty productive season from an edge rusher who's playing on the league minimum?
Yeah, I mean, I think that should help. And then you also know that at some point, probably not the too distant future, you're going to have to make a decision on Bradley Chubb and when and how much you're going to pay him. So yeah, I mean, I think, look, they had the Broncos had the highest paid defense in the NFL last year. And what did that do? Granted, a lot of that salary ended up on injured reserve very, very quickly when Vaughn got hurt, and then Jarrell Casey and AJ Bouye barely played. So a lot of that money ended up not being wasted because of injuries, but it wasn't necessarily a winning formula, right? I think they're going to realize that they're going to have to get value other places. And Shaq Barrett was clearly not George Payton's decision. But I wonder if there's some lessons there in who you pay, when you pay them, where a guy is in his growth trajectory. And yeah, I mean, at some point they're going to have to get more production and more value out of some of these, lesser stars, right? And I think Shelby Harris is maybe a really good example where they kind of let him go test the market, brought him back on a lesser deal last year, and he was one of their best defensive players. He has to be, if Justin Simmons is kind of priority number one, leaving setting aside the Vaughn question, Shelby Harris has to be 1A.
Yeah.
Don't let him go. You got to re-sign him. I don't think it'll be a massive deal, but he was really interested. So I think that kind of guy is who you need. Really quality, maybe not the elite type of defensive player, but guys you can get really good production at a really good value.
All right, let's bring up the next tweet here.
Okay.
Says that moment when in a group interview, another reporter asks interviewee about a story you wrote, saying, "Is that accurate?" WTF.
2013.
Oh, 2013.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I got to look at that date. Okay.
Is that's league meetings of 2013, perhaps?
Yeah.
If you're not going to get this one, I don't think you're going to get any of them.
Yeah. Was it Nikki?
Nope. It was you.
Oh, it was me. Oh man. In that moment when in a group interview, another reporter asked. Okay, what would I have written in March of 2013?
It would. I don't remember the player, but it was about. It was about a draft prospect. So I don't know if it couldn't have been the combine. I mean, was the combine that late?
March 28th would have been owners meetings.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's exactly the timeline for owners meetings. It would have been coming out of the 2012 playoff loss series. So before they went on that big run where they signed. Did they say no? That was.
It would have been right after.
Oh, after the 2012 season.
Right.
So it was not the off season that they signed DeMarcus.
Yeah, it would have been right after they signed Lou Vasquez, Wes Welker, that class that year.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, but it was clearly owners meetings, March 28th.
Yeah. I thought
didn't get much engagement though.
I know. I thought we were going to
I saw the WTF and I was like, it has to be Cliff wouldn't tweet WTF.
It has to be someone hit, Lindsay.
That's why I just thought it was Nikki because Nikki's great.
She would tweet that.
I thought we were going to get some scoop on which one of the Denver media members was muted based off of this.
I could have muted myself. I also had to think. I was like 2013. Who was around? And there's been some significant changes.
Yeah.
Man, now I know. Now I want to know what that story was about. It also could have been not Broncos related. Like it could have been.
Yeah.
If it was, I was at USA Today, so I could have been writing about like the Steelers and.
We'll never know.
Whew.
All right, here's the next one. This one, so Zach had a much easier one for this, and then I thought it was too easy. So this one's my fault because you'll never get this.
Who tweets about?
I know who it is, and I don't
Soccer
even
a
know
lot.
who it is after this reading this.
He's
I
I'll
have
give-
no.
I'll
Is it
give you
Nate?
I'm so
No, sorry,
sorry
go ahead.
for Ryan's cruelty, Lindsay.
My hint is all roads lead to.
Deshaun Watson.
There it is. Deshaun Watson. Notable Bayern Munich fan. I did not know that until I was scrolling his
So
Twitter. and
this is
looking
a
for
sign
this
we got to read that he's gonna like request some sort of like soccer style transfer.
Right.
Like-
yeah,
Yeah.
the Broncos are going to pay like hundreds of millions of dollars to buy out his contract or something.
I love that idea.
So really
Well, I mean,
quick,
if-
since we brought up Deshaun one more time, Lindsay, you said, maybe the Texans are blown away by an incredible offer. All three of us are okay with any offer the Broncos send their way. So, I mean, when we say incredible offer, what do you mean by that?
I mean, it has to be a lot of future draft capital, but also some players that can contribute right now. So, it's not just sending 3 first-round picks, which I think you're probably going to have to do. It's probably going to take 3 first-round picks, but it's going to be 3 first-round picks, some players who maybe were first-round picks.
Right.
So it's going to be a combination of picks and players, like core guys that you can build around, not guys who are on expiring deals, guys that are cheap, the Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant,
Right.
that
Right.
kind of guy, not even a Cortland Sutton now where, the timeline is getting closer where you're going to have to pay Cortland Sutton. So yeah, I think it would be like, picks and players to do that.
I think
All right,
I wouldn't even say Drew Lock is part of I think that's kind of a given at this point for any team that would be
right.
sending a quarterback, that you would include Drew Lock in that sort of package. But yeah, so a lot of picks, a lot of players.
I think it was this morning. I want to say it was Field Yates, but I don't know for certain. Someone reported today that as soon as the first team is on the clock in this year's draft, you actually can start trading 2024 draft picks. So that could be an interesting timeline for the Deshaun Watson trade.
Man, something that big going down in such a short time would be crazy.
Right? I mean, you could have it technically agreed to before then.
Yeah.
Right.
You say we're just waiting for this moment where we can actually trade that 4th first rounder and then go from there. I mean, that would help the Broncos' chances, because the one thing that they would have working against them right now is a 3-year limit, and a team like Miami has more draft capital, and the Jets have more draft capital. And of course, Deshaun can still nix any trade that comes their way.
And that's what makes that interesting, and the Russell Wilson situation interesting too, is that they both have those no trade clauses.
All right, we have to go speed round here at the end because we have to.
I was gonna say I pushed.
Yeah.
I actually just got a text. I pushed my radio hit back. So
Oh, there we
awesome.
go. Let's go.
I was just about to chat at you guys privately. But yeah, we're fine. I think that this is always happens. Like with our pod the other day.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, we'll keep it tight, like 45 minutes, and then like an hour and 20 into it.
Yeah, we feel that.
Yeah.
So, Lindsay, this next one, you don't have to guess, but it's something that we just have to play because I know Ryan loves this video.
Oh no!
Oh.
Why?
Hey, Seattle. We got deal.
Go Hawks.
Go hard.
So cringeworthy.
It's so bad. So bad. He's got like the 3 chains.
Make it stop.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah, never do that. Never post
No,
that. Never
no.
record that video. Never post that video. Yeah,
And it was about, of course, him getting the new deal in Seattle. What's going on? I mean, your colleagues over at The Athletic did a pretty bombshell story yesterday. Do you think Russ is gone?
I mean, I don't think he'll be gone, but kind of like I said with Deshaun Watson, like there's not a lot of times that NFL players have leverage. The offseason is the time that you have leverage, and there's not a lot of guys who actually are in a position to use it. And clearly he's trying to assert whatever sort of power he has. But what's so interesting about the story that Michael Sean Dugar, Mike Sando, and Jason Jenks, who all live in Seattle, cover this. He either have covered the Seahawks exclusively or have spent a ton of time and a lot of years covering that organization. So they're super plugged in. But what I thought was most interesting is that it wasn't just like what's happened over the last month or so, since Russ has kind of he's finally broken out of his like robot quarterback mode and is saying something interesting for the first time really in his life. It's just everything that's been percolating for years now, really, and kind of the power struggle that's been going on, and the stuff that he's asked for that he hasn't gotten, the say that he's wanted in the offense. But then also, a lot of the critiques specifically of Russell and the way that he's been playing and that he's handled all of this stuff. I mean, it's the power dynamics there are really, really, really interesting. Ultimately, I think he will stay. I think I think the Seahawks would be nuts to trade him. There's been some fun trade scenarios thrown out there. One of like the companion pieces that some of my coworkers did was they let Michael Sean Dugar, our Seahawks writer, like play GM and, let the Texans, let the Cowboys, the Bears, the Raiders, the Saints, let them all like make their trade proposals. And the Dallas one is really kind of interesting. Like Russell says he wants to go to Dallas. I think that's like a be careful what you wish for kind of scenario looking at that. But, you re-tag Dak Prescott, tag or sign and trade.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like, while I understand Russell's concerns, especially about pass protection and how often he's getting hit and the actual investment that the Seahawks have made to protect him and on the offensive line, there's not a ton of places around the league that would actually be an upgrade for him. That when you look at the personnel, you look at the ownership structure or the coaching structure, he's got it pretty good. And I think his complaints are valid, but I also think that there's a lot worse places in the NFL that he could wind up. And look, he does have a no trade clause, so he wouldn't be able to just, they couldn't just send him to like the Bengals, which the Bengals wouldn't be in it. I'm just trying to think of like a really messy organization. Yeah. But, like if you go to the Cowboys, you're the quarterback of America's team, but you have a super conservative head coach who, despite spending a year studying analytics or whatever, isn't, this isn't going to be a place to necessarily like let him cook, right? Mm-hmm. They're a disaster on defense. Their offensive line is not the offensive line that it was even 3 years ago. I mean, they have major issues there now, to the point where they might end up having to draft a new left tackle, like use their first round pick to draft a new tackle. So, in Chicago, like, why would you want to go to Chicago? Yeah, like that entire organization is about to get blown up. That GM's probably going to get fired next year. Like they shouldn't have made it through this year. Their offensive line sucks. Their defense is going through kind of a rebuild too. Like stay in Seattle. Like exert your pressure or whatever influence you have to see if you can finally have a little bit of say in the offense. See how he plays in a Sean McVay style offense that they're going to run now with their new offensive coordinator there. And maybe that's kind of where I figure. And I answered this in my mailbag last week too, or a question about this is like, he's also just a unique dude. I mean, as we saw from the video is he's never really viewed himself as like a traditional NFL quarterback who should adhere to typical NFL norms. He has a baseball agent. He now is kind of very much crossed into this celebrity vein. He also views himself very much as like a CEO businessman with the investments that he's made. He's very involved in like the tech space, as an investor in startups. And So it's just a completely kind of different path than most quarterbacks in the NFL have chosen to take. And he's now finally pushing back and saying something interesting. And I'm glad for the fodder. And if you haven't read that story yet, make sure you go check it out. It was really, really, really good.
Yeah, and I'm glad he's saying it in a story and not in a bed with his shirt off.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's like he's saying it on Dan Patrick. I was actually on he won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award this year, which is kind of the NFL's highest off-field honor, and very well deserved for Russell Wilson for everything that he's done, especially in the Seattle community since he's been there. But they had a Zoom press conference for him like 2 days after the Super Bowl, and it was like a handful of national reporters, mostly Seattle reporters, and they were trying so hard to keep it to like Man of the Year questions. But he had just that morning gone on Dan Patrick, and so I kind of asked I did one of like trying to combo like a Man of the Year / other kind of question in there. And I asked him about like, you were sitting next to Roger Goodell at the Super Bowl. Like, what was that experience like? What did you talk about? What was Ciara and Roger talking about? Because we all want to know what Roger Goodell and Ciara were talking about. And he kind of answered it as like, yeah, I mean, the NFL's listening to our social justice concerns. He's like, but I also was really pissed that I was there. and I really wanted to be playing in the game. And for a long time, he's been like, I already called him a robot quarterback. He very much has been like, go Hawks, blah, blah, you know, and he's not doing that anymore. And he ended that press conference without saying go Hawks, which was extremely notable to me. I mean, I've been covering him since 2012. And I think that was the first time I'd ever heard him end any sort of media session, radio interview, anything without saying go Hawks. And that was pretty telling to me.
Ooh.
I thought it was interesting that he said he wanted another guy's job. Like, it would be weird if I tweeted out, like, I want to stay at DNVR, but if I were to leave, I'd love to be the senior NFL writer at The Athletic. Like that's so weird.
Well, Ryan,
yeah, you have to be real careful how you say things like that. Because like, I would love to be Mina Kimes, right? But like,
yeah.
Hey, Ryan, to bring it to a relationship status, I saw this on Twitter yesterday, and I don't remember who said it, but they said it's like if you approach your wife and you're like, no, I don't want to get a divorce with you, honey, but if we do get a divorce, here are the 4 girls I'm going to go after after we get divorced.
But it's not even like the hall pass kind of list. It's like, if we were going to get divorced, it would be, like Sarah from your office and, your second cousin who I met at that wedding that one time. So it's like people that would actually be kind of realistic and not just like, yeah, if we get divorced, I'd love to marry George Clooney, like something that's completely off the wall, but like an actual... It's really messed up. Yeah, it's really messed up.
All right, let's do quick ones here for.
I need to clown on some of my other reporters here. Oh, it was February 24th, 2021.
I know we got to give her some reporter ones.
Recent.
That was like 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
This is this is way too niche to Broncos Twitter.
Yes, it is. Kind of sent Broncos Twitter in a tizzy.
Oh, was it Ben Albright?
No, that was. We should have done that one.
There's one the other night that said let's go or something.
Yeah, it was it's about to go down.
Yeah. Oh, it's about to go down.
This was Juwan James. Everyone thought he was like cut by the Broncos or something like that. He later said he was just tweeting a Drake lyric.
Of course. Yeah. That's what they always are, right?
Nice walk back.
Yes, exactly. All right, some might say that flight flew by. Ouch, 1 like on this.
Wow, so we must be talking a long time ago. That
might be decade ago. Yeah.
Is this Mace?
Oh,
close.
Okay. I was like, this was dad. I see. It was very much a dad joke, so I thought that's why I thought. That's why I thought Andrew.
Ryan's not a dad yet, but he's certainly got the dad jokes down.
Well, in 2012, you probably didn't have quite your Twitter presence yet. I mean, you were probably in college, right?
Just out. I guess I was in college.
Middle of college. Yep.
Okay.
Where was I going in December of 2012?
You can guess this easily.
I can.
Yeah.
Were you going to a bowl game?
Where would you be going in December? In December.
In December.
In the winter. Where do you go in the winter?
Aren't
was
there
it Arizona?
cacti there?
Bingo. There you go. Yeah. Arizona. Probably getting some golf in.
Yep, I'm the youngest snowbird there is.
Well, you've got the attire, obviously.
Oh.
We can skip this one, honestly.
It's something about going to Dallas. Something about Dallas. Right?
Very good.
Okay.
Yes,
There you go.
I have
You're
a
like the
weird
zip
memory.
code.
Yeah, I area codes for some reason. I
Yeah.
have a weird memory for this.
In Boulder, there's a guy on Pearl Street who you can tell him where you live, and he knows the zip code for every single place in the world.
Yeah, I don't know zip codes, but I'm pretty good with area codes generally.
That's because you have all those numbers in your phone.
Right. Okay, another old one, 2012.
Oh, same time as my tweet.
The tweet is,
okay.
how bad must Ricky Stanzi be if he can't get a shot ahead of Brady Quinn?
Ooh, I don't know.
Like Broncos season finale that year, I think.
Ricky
Oh,
Stanzi.
someone seems to know a lot about it.
Oh, so Mace. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was that a Chiefs?
It was Chiefs Broncos regular season finale, and Kansas City went 2-14 that year with Brady
I remember
Quinn
that. Yeah.
starting most of the. It was like 30-3 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was just a terrible game.
Was it Ricky Stanzi? Was he a Wisconsin guy?
Iowa.
Okay, yeah, I knew it was somewhere up there. All right, we got to have at least one more. Oh, well, we know this one.
Wait, I definitely saw this one, but now I don't.
Yeah. A month ago. It says, I was on 2, then took it to 10.
But this was another like quoting a rap lyric, right?
I think so.
I was also quoting an Adam Schefter report.
Oh, is this Deshaun again?
Yeah, I don't know why we're doing Deshaun again.
Okay.
Just
Wait,
all roads lead
there
to
were no
Deshaun.
Cliss tweets in here.
That's true. I think we have one more, do we not?
Is it don't confirm to Nikki?
This is the worst one.
Another old one. The worst one. Watch your mouth.
So is this a Zach?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is this?
I think that was my 3rd tweet ever, guys. And I never thought I'd use Twitter.
That is so
man.
bad. That's the
bad.
worst tweet I've ever seen.
Yeah.
These
That's
early
background.
tweets.
I've got some bad
yeah.
ones in there. I'm surprised you guys didn't find.
These
We should have
early
brought up.
these early tweets are like, remember the PF Chang's Chargers tweets from when they first started? Oh, I mean, that's what they're like, basically. Like, what were we thinking then? What were we using this for?
Well, you guys would have to go back and find my like post Broncos from
Yeah.
like 2009, 2009.
We should have brought up the confetti cannon tweet. Our
Oh,
best
yeah.
ever tweet.
That was a good one, although I misspelled cannon, which was I did like the wrong cannon, which was really disappointing when you have like a tweet that takes off. So that one was I was at a Sunday night football game in Indy, and they shot off the confetti cannon. I said like, it's okay, it happens to a lot of confetti cannons, I think. And it like took off, and I spelled cannon with 1 N or 2 N's. I don't know.
Whatever.
I wouldn't even know.
You did learn your lesson, clearly.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. Yeah, no. Next time you got to get the "Don't confirm to Nikki" Cliss.
Yes,
because
of course.
That was the classic.
That was man. That was a good one.
It was good times. I missed I missed that banter.
Yes. I just miss being in the media room and just like there's like little underlying rivalries, like people it's like happily joking but not really.
Right.
I mean, and now like, since I'm kind of on a national, I travel around a lot, and through the PFWA especially, I hear a lot of stuff that goes on around the league, and like every market has some like really interesting beat dynamics, and there's some places where all the guys like legit like love each other and are best friends, like in San Francisco, like the Niners beat, like they probably it's the most collegial beat in the NFL by far. And then there's like the Jets beat where everybody like legitimately wants to kill each other. There's like a couple guys I think that get along. And then, some of these markets like Cleveland, almost all the guys have been, and women, their cake habit, like have been covering the Browns since the 90s. So there's just a lot of like, they've all been there forever. It's really like, it's a super like inside media stuff, but there's some, there would be some good stories and books, and Denver's right up there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Could do a podcast on that alone.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, I probably shouldn't, but
I was gonna say you probably should.
there's definitely some stories to be told for sure.
We'll just put a voice changer on, and you can tell us everything.
I was gonna say next time, Lindsay, you come on, you can tell us all of the Denver media accounts you have muted and stories from other media markets.
Well, it's just sometimes, and I have this in other markets too, but it's just sometimes like it's like a lot of tweeting play-by-plays tends to be what'll do it. I don't have that many. It's not that many muted, but
can we get a number on it?
It's maybe like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Oh, that's not bad.
Maybe 5.
We'll leave it up to the imagination.
Oh, number keeps going up.
Yeah.
All of them. If you work in the media room, no, that's not true. I've been very much enjoying Jeff Legwold's "If I Were an Indie" threads that he's been tweeting lately. He's been like asking his neighbors how much they weigh and like how much they can bench, which would not surprise me if he actually were legitimately doing that.
What teams have you talked to?
Yeah, who have you talked to?
Oh God,
it's the worst question at the combine.
I don't miss that this week. That's for sure.
Because it doesn't tell you anything.
No,
you've literally learned nothing except for that you can put it in like the headline of a blog post that's going to get a little bit of SEO. Like,
it's
everybody talks to everybody.
It's the question that someone who's in the scrum and knows they want to ask a question but doesn't know what they want to ask asks.
Just blurts it out.
Yeah. Oh, have you talked to the Broncos? It's like, we don't care. We don't care.
And then the worst thing about it is it just starts a waterfall domino effect where people start to ask about every question.
Browns, Giants, Packers, Panthers, Broncos. It's like all.
I love when the player just says, "I've talked to every team."
Yeah.
Or they're like, or I haven't had any meetings yet.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what my schedule is. Because their schedules are crazy. But man, I do miss it. I'm going to make, so this, I guess tomorrow night. So I ordered a couple bottles of the cocktail sauce from St. Elmo's. Like the day that the combine was officially canceled, I went on and I ordered it directly from St. Elmo's. So I have 2 bottles of it. And there's a YouTube video from one of their chefs on like how to cook the shrimp the way that they do. I don't know how well it'll come out, but I'm going to do that tomorrow. We're going to buy some steaks. So we're going to grill some steaks. I'm going to try to make the cocktail sauce, or I'm going to try to make the shrimp. I have the cocktail sauce. That's the one part that I know won't get messed up. But Matt Boyer from Broncos.com, and I have texted about this a bit because he has also tried to make this. So his tip was that like, he's made it unsuccessfully. And I think it was because the shrimp was like King Super shrimp. So no offense. Hopefully King Supers is not sponsoring your podcast. But so I got to go find some like really good shrimp. And I'm going to attempt this tomorrow to get my indie experience.
I want to say it's like jumbo tiger shrimp.
Yeah. So it has
to
be.
Use.
And I've been trying to figure out too, if it's like frozen versus fresh, like frozen. I think the best way is to get it frozen and then like freshly thawed. So it can't be something that's been like frozen and then re-chilled. And so we're going to give that a try, and we'll see if my video of my daughter trying to have some of this.
Oh God.
That's probably child abuse, right? Probably shouldn't do that.
That's what they said.
My husband has never had it, so maybe I'll just let him. Let him try, because that's my favorite thing about the combine is going to St. Elmo's with somebody for their first time. And just telling them you have to eat this, and then they get a big bite, and then just like tears streaming down their face when they
pretty much me last year with these guys.
Yep. It's
like but I do miss the scene. I don't miss like the late night bar scene. Increasingly that's become like less of my jam. But yeah, I mean, being able to like walk into St. Elmo's and you just see like it's just a who's who of people in the NFL, and the conversations that they're having and the news that's going to come out of there is the best. And we're missing that this year. All of the rumors and the little nuggets that come out of Indy.
We would always come on the podcast with just like such good little tidbits that like we're like that are like half veiled. We're like, don't be surprised if you hear, But this has been awesome. The one bit of homework we need to hear where Lena thinks Deshaun Watson ends.
All right, I'll work on that. Over shrimp cocktail tomorrow. I'll get her predictions about the quarterback carousel.
Love it.
I'll see if I can predict. We did start talking about it this morning because we had ESPN on, and she was like, "Who's playing?" Because she saw the team logos, and I was like, "No, it's just now guys are getting to switch teams." And she was really cute. She goes, "Well, when I'm playing football, who's going to be my coach?"
Oh,
It's
That's so cute.
It's been really sweet.
awesome.
I don't really know how to wrap my head around my 4-year-old daughter wanting to play tackle football, but that is a separate.
it means
This is
you've
a
been doing
podcast
a
for-
great job.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
she's into it. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
very much into it. So we'll work. Maybe by the time she's in high school, Colorado will have flag football,
There we go.
That'd be great.
like all the other states do. So,
Yeah.
or many other states do. So, yeah. Well, thank you guys for having me. I didn't dunk on James Palmer enough. I don't know.
I know. Next time we need to tee you up a little better.
I know we didn't have any of his tweets.
Yeah, that was my bad, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right.
He's probably
Thank-
got some bad Ohio State tweets out there.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Oh.
sure.
High school
Yes.
kicker tweets. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. All right, Linz. Thanks
Well,
so
thank
much
you guys for
joining
having
us.
me.
Thanks,
Yep.
Lindsay.
That was awesome.
Yes.
Great stuff from Lindsay Jones. Of course, we've still got more to come here as we coming up next, we're going to build our Broncos. Now, this is going to be really tough. I looked at the spread here. We're going to have $15 to build our Broncos, and I like this. People are going to be mad, I think, based on the decisions that we make. So we'll get to that in a second. But first, want to give a shout out to our presenting sponsor, MSU Denver. You can go to msudenver.edu/online to scope out all they have to offer. MSU Denver students work twice as many hours as students attending any other Colorado institution. So if you want to get your degree while earning money to hopefully earn more money after you get your degree, they are the place to go. Also, want to give a shout out to Breckenridge Brewery. It is Friday, which means it's a Breck Brew Friday, and your Breck Brew Friday can now include Good Company hard seltzer, which I'll just tell you, like I'm keeping it light tonight. Tomorrow, I will be drinking several Good Company hard seltzer. So if you want to join me on that as we make our march to 1 million, then get you some 15 can packs of Good Company hard seltzer.
Well, Ryan, tomorrow you're drinking good company hard seltzers from Breck. Lindsay Jones making, of course, the shrimp with some steaks, and the best place for her to get her steak, which I'll tell her about right after this, is Hassel Cattle Company. Guys, to pair with that damn good beer, or shall we call it damn good seltzers, we've got damn good beef, and Hassel Cattle Company is the absolute best source for farm-to-table Wagyu beef in the country. Hassel Cattle Company is a 4th-generation cattle farm, and they ship everywhere in the United States. And if you spend over $200, you'll get free shipping. And if you use the code DNVR10, you'll get 10% off your entire order. They have more than just steaks. Of course, they have smoked sausage, New York strips, beef, bacon, Wagyu franks without any fillers, and they have multiple flavors of jerky, including the sweet and spicy, which is so good. So make sure to check out Hassel Cattle Company. That's HASSELL cattlecompany.com, and use that code DNVR10 for 10% off your purchase, and you'll get free shipping on anything over $200. Hassel Cattle Company.
All right, it's time for us to enter the matrix here, as we have $15 to build our Broncos. So this is based off of players who are free agents or restricted free agents this year. You've got $15. Now, I just want to note this before people start getting mad at us. The Broncos have more than $15 to spend here. As I went through this, I was like, this is so hard. And I realized, like, okay, well, thankfully the Broncos aren't stuck in this conundrum that they're going to have to pass on as many people as we're going to have to pass on here. But I think it is a good exercise in finding out where your priorities lie as you build this team. So here is the spread. You've got $15, and as you see there, the top line, Justin Simmons, Von Miller, Shelby Harris, all those guys are $5, $4 line, and it goes on. So Mace, we're going to let you hit lead off here. Build your Broncos.
All right. Now, do we have to take one from each, or can I move around and add up to 15 a different way?
I think you have a $15 budget. You can do whatever you want with it.
All right,
Exactly.
cool. All right, I'm starting on the $4 line. Then I am starting with Alexander Johnson.
Okay.
And the thing is, I was thinking about this yesterday, having a conversation on the radio. Alexander Johnson, of the 3 RFAs, is probably my top priority. Not so much because he's the best player, because you could argue for Philip Lindsay, you could argue for Tim Patrick, but that is something where you need somebody there who has some dynamic ability, and at the price, I think very affordable. So I'm starting on my budget here, guys, with Alexander Johnson for $4.
All right.
Okay, I like that.
Keep it rolling, Mace.
All right. Next up, I'm going to go back to the RFA well again. Tim Patrick, of course, he's been making social media waves with his repartee with Pro Football Focus, but give me the guy that doesn't drop any passes. I'll find a way to get him in the lineup, even though you've got other needs on the roster and you're pretty deep at wide receiver. The other thing with Tim Patrick, guys, is this. If you give him the RFA tender, let's say every receiver stays healthy, there might be a team that will trade for Tim Patrick later in the summer. So even if Jerry Jeudy's balling out, Cortland's playing well, KJ Hamler's taking the next step up. I mean, what if Green Bay says, hey, we'll give you a 4th-round pick for Tim Patrick sometime this summer?
What is his value? Because I do like the idea of a 4th potentially, but I've seen people going back on Twitter this week about Tim saying you can get a 1st for him, and some people saying you can get a 6th for him. Where do you think his true value is, especially on the way that he would be traded, which is just a 1-year deal this year?
And that's why I think it would realistically be a 4th-round pick, because it is a position at which there is a lot of talent league-wide wide receiver. I mean, I do think there's a market for somebody that is as reliable as Tim Patrick. But yeah, the first and the 6th, they're kind of the extremes. So maybe what we're thinking is early 4th, late 3rd for a guy on a 1-year deal who could probably step right in and be productive. I mean, I keep coming back to thinking that Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, and Tim Patrick, if Patrick isn't a Bronco, that's a perfect match. But if you give Tim Patrick the original round tender this year, you're getting nothing back. And this is true for all the RFAs. If you give them the 2nd round tender, ensure they're back, and then they leave a year from now, at least you get something in draft capital compensatory wise. Whereas if you give them the original round tender right now, you let them walk, it's nothing. So that's something I think the Broncos need to consider when they're making these RFA decisions, gentlemen.
Yeah, very fair.
So yep.
Very fair. So Mace, you have what, $8 left?
I've got $8. I've got $8 left. And my next thing, I'm going back to the $4 well, and I'm bringing Kareem Jackson back.
Okay. Another RFA.
Yes.
Right?
No, he's not an RFA. That's just
he's an option guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And then his guarantee kicks in once you go ahead and do that. And then I'm closing this out with DeMar Dotson.
Okay.
Because I don't have confidence that Ja'Wuan James is going to hold up. And DeMar Dotson, he's not somebody you want out there in space on the screen game, but in terms of pass protection across the board, he had a really good season last year, and I trust him there. If Ja'Wuan James can't stay healthy, I trust DeMar Dotson to go in and play well in pass pro, which is really what, with all respect to run blocking and the screen game, that's what matters the most. And then my last $2, Jerry Atachu, someone that can spell your edge guys as a starter from time to time, but provides good depth, good rotational presence. He stayed healthy the last couple of years. He's been productive when he's been asked to go out there. So, I stay away from the $5 line, but
wow,
I feel like I've got a deeper crew here.
Yeah,
you've got a lot of players.
Yeah, you certainly did, and I actually think this is a very interesting setup, guys, because while the Broncos do have a lot of money, I think this is a good exercise to show that if the Broncos want Von Miller, want Justin Simmons, want Shelby Harris, you're not really going to be able to go down past that level in terms of getting guys. You'll be able to get, keep a Nick Vannett and maybe sign DeMar Dotson, but you're not going to be able to also keep Kareem Jackson, Tim Patrick, all of these guys.
But with the restricted free agent guys, you should be able to. Like you can put, second round tenders on these guys.
Well, Ryan, those cost $3.5 million. You do 3 of those, that's $10 million right there. And if you're also paying Justin Simmons 15, Shelby Harris 10, Von Miller, let's say you bring him down to 13, you've gone past your $45 million budget right there.
Yeah. You'll have to make some other ancillary moves.
Yeah. Selfishly, I had hoped that Will Parks would be a $2 guy rather than a $3 guy. And if he were a $2 guy, my list would look a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure. And also, before someone comes in here and tries to explain to us things that have happened with the Broncos, this graphic was made before Jarrell Casey was cut.
And there's also a chance that, they try to bring him back on a discount. Now, I think that probably would have happened before they just cut him. But heck, they could do the Shelby Harris with him, guys. Say, we don't want you for that price. You can hit the market. And then bring him back in a month or two from now when he's still on the market, just like they did 1 year ago with Shelby.
Yep. All right, Zach, I want to see you build.
All right, I'm going the complete opposite of Andrew Mason. I'm going Justin Simmons and Shelby Harris. Get me those two guys back. They keep the idea of, it's not a full youth movement with those guys, but you keep some up and coming players who I think Shelby's still peaking up in the right direction. Justin obviously is as well. So now I only have $5 left. So I have to skip the $4 line, and that finds me at the $3 line. Tim Patrick is a great player, but the Broncos, that's something that they don't need to spend any capital on right now. No resources, whether money or draft capital, because they already did that last year. So passing up on him, and I'm going to go with Will Parks, because this would mean that you'd move on from Kareem Jackson, and you have to have another safety. I mean, right now, look, Trey Marshall isn't even on your team next year, and he's your only third safety on this team. So you have to get another stud there. Will Parks is that on the cheaper from Kareem Jackson and Justin Simmons. And I have $2 left, guys, and I'm kind of at a struggle right now on what to do with it. I'm sticking with the $2 line. Do I go DeMar Dotson or Jeremiah Atachu? Because, of course, I'm letting Von Miller go in this situation, so I need depth, but I'm counting on Malik Reed to be that guy. Jeremiah Atachu is a great depth piece. He really can play. He can ball, but I don't have a right tackle right now, one that I can absolutely count on. So, Mace, I'm doing what you did. I'm taking DeMar Dotson, because you're obviously rolling the dice with Juwan James this year. You have no choice. That's how his contract is. But I need something that I can count on if Juwan James can't play for some of this season. And I know DeMar Dotson is that guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all, Zach, if DeMar Dotson lingers on the market, but if things go askew with Juwan James, that DeMar Dotson comes back in like July, right before camp, and resigns, stretches this out, just because you found that you could trust him last year.
Yeah, exactly. And I would do that personally over Elijah Wilkinson, because when DeMar Dotson played last year, guys, I was way more impressed.
Yeah.
All right. Oh man, I'm struggling here, guys, but I'm going to go down the route where, in my mind, the Broncos have landed a quarterback, a top-tier quarterback. And, for the sake of argument, I'll just say it's Deshaun Watson. And one thing, yeah, exactly. Congratulations to us and everyone in the city of Denver. One thing that I have always said about this player is, good God, if you put him in a good offense, he is going to absolutely eat. And that's Philip Lindsay. You always talk about, when we talk about the Broncos losing Philip Lindsay, it's always, oh man, what if he went to the Chiefs? Oh man, what if he ended up with the Ravens? Oh, what if he ended up with the Bills? Well, if you have Deshaun Watson, now you are one of those teams. What if he ended up with the Broncos, where he's been all along? So I want to keep him around. Then I'm going to go up top. I'm going out of order here. And I got to keep Shelby Harris. It's just not an option for me to not keep Shelby Harris after seeing the impact he had against the Chiefs this last year. Seeing the way that you beat the Chiefs, right? It's with interior pressure. It's with just pressure, period. If you can get pressure with 4, well, he is your best option there in terms of getting pressure from the interior with 4. So now I have spent $9.
Good math.
Mm-hmm.
I am in a bit of trouble here because I've spent big early, but I'm going to keep spending. and I'm going to keep spending big. And I'm going to keep Justin Simmons around. This is a guy who, when you are building a team that you want to win a championship with, this is a guy that you want on your team. He is a foxhole guy that you got to have with you. He's a beloved in the locker room. And again, now that you are a contender, you want the locker room as happy as possible. If you don't bring back Justin Simmons, this locker room is going to be a hornet's nest. People are going to be really upset. And again, like I said earlier in the week, you just can't look at your locker room and tell them, hey, make sure you're doing the right things off the field. Hey, if you participate in these community events, it's going to mean a lot when your contract comes up. These are the types of things that they tell these guys from the time that they're rookies. And if you don't bring back Justin Simmons, that's just a lie. You've just been lying to them all along. And everyone will remember that, and it's just not good for business. So now I have $1 left.
You going to the McDonald's drive-thru, or?
Yeah, I was thinking of just getting the spicy McChicken and calling it a day, because I already have the 3 guys that I need to bring back. But I guess I'm going to DeMarcus Walker, honestly. As disappointing as he's been based on his draft status, he's gotten better every year. And again, as I talk about, you need interior pressure. He's shown that he has a propensity when he can get on the field that he can get pressure from the inside. So, it's a $1 pick. I definitely don't want Nick Van at all. Trey Marshall is nice to have because you have zero depth at that position, and now you don't even have Kareem Jackson, I guess, in this scenario. But I'm just going to the draft, I guess, to fill that position. Give me DeMarcus Walker. I like that he's trending up, and maybe he pops. In what would this be for him? Year 4?
Yep. Exactly.
Year 5 for DeMarcus Walker, actually. And what is interesting, and I thought about Walker as well, RK. The pass rush efficiency numbers for him on a per snap basis are pretty good. And those are why I think if the Broncos don't bring him back next month, I think somebody's going to sign him on a 1-year, $2.5–3 million deal, and maybe find a better way to use him than the Broncos have over the last few years. I think the talent is there for one specific skill set that is valued, and that's being an interior pass rusher. I feel like the Broncos have fallen into trouble by asking him from the start, when they had him at outside linebacker as rookie, to do things that he's not good at, to not play to his skill set.
Yeah, I'm shocked. And maybe this is just an interesting pulse of where Broncos country is. I thought people were going to be really mad. And none of us brought back Von Miller.
Nope.
All 3 of us let Von Miller go. There's not a single comment that I thought people were going to be mad at us for that. But I think maybe, and I know that people still want him back, and they want him back bad. But I think that maybe this is a sign that Broncos country is starting to come to terms with the idea that Von Miller might not be a Bronco next year. Do you guys get that sense too?
Yeah, and I think especially where we labeled him as a $5 player. I think if we would have put him as a $3 player, probably all of us would have jumped all over that. But guys, while Vaughn probably is not going to be back at the $22 million cap hit, which in this case would be like, a $10 player, if he's still coming back at $15 million, at $13 million, at $14 million, that's still a $5 player we're talking about. He still is going to be that expensive. So, a $3 player, let's say that's about $8 million in real life. Okay, now we're talking. I would bring him back at $8 million. I think you guys would both bring him back at $8 million this year. But and maybe that's where Broncos country is. Do they want Vaughn back? Yes. Do they want him back at that $5 price tag, at the most expensive price tag? I think they understand that time is not for this year.
Yeah, Lindsay kind of mentioned it that she's been preparing for a Broncos without Von Miller kind of in the back of her mind since he got hurt. And I would say maybe a lot of the fans have been preparing for this notion since that interview that he had over on the Fan last season that with Zach Bye and Brandon Stokely that really went so poorly when the subject of a restructure came up. I feel like maybe there's already been that mourning and toward acceptance in Broncos country if Von Miller isn't back.
Yeah,
they've already the grieving process has already happened, even though he hasn't left yet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, remember your picks, guys, because I'm going to text you for them so I can tweet this out in poll form and see what who people think did the best. I was thinking of pandering and just taking all the fan favorites, but I decided not to.
Guys, I think I have a better shot at winning this poll than I
Yeah.
do the last one.
I think so too. It seems like you actually understood what we were picking this time.
There we go. I can't say I'm a Pop-Tart expert.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You're not getting paid for that.
Although it's funny, we're talking about Von Miller. It's weird because I'm actually wearing the Super Bowl 50 ring, and
big flexing.
I wouldn't have it if it weren't for Von Miller.
Certainly not.
Yeah.
No chance, honestly.
Yes.
It's a shame. It's a shame. If it does come to that, it'll be a bummer, I think, for everyone. He's been just such a staple in the city for so long. All right. Before we move on here, I want to tell you guys about the Colorado Exos. And this is a cool thing that they're doing because I feel like it's always a conversation when you talk about some of these quote-unquote fringe sports of what if the best athletes were playing these sports? What if the best athletes were playing rugby, for example? And that's what the Colorado Exos is experimenting with. They're taking former pros or semi-pros from basketball, baseball, wrestling, soccer, track and field, and teaching them rugby. And the hope is once these guys get it down, they can have a really damn good team here in the Colorado Exos. So it's really cool what they're doing. They've got their first game this weekend, and our guy Colton Strickler is out there in New Orleans, a little jealous of him, getting a chance to cover the game. He'll be reporting back everything that we learned, what happened, where this team needs to go. And it's just this is a kind of a story, seeing a team that's built off of an idea start from scratch. So check him out and make sure you check out the DNVR Rugby podcast with Colton Strickler. He's throwing out picks to us for betting now. He's got his first pick up tonight. They play at 11 p.m. tonight, so excited to see how they do. We're betting on the Hurricanes, I believe. So excited to see how that turns out. But yeah, make sure you check out the DNVR Rugby podcast and follow the Colorado Exos.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Super Rugby tonight, guys. It's my late night sporting jam at this time of year. Excited.
Oh, can't wait. Yeah. And Ryan, you had $1 left over in that game. What if I told you that you could turn that $1 into $100? Would you do it?
Yeah, I could have had all the players on the board.
Yes, you could have. You could have been the opposite of the New Orleans Saints. But if you want to turn your $1 into $100, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you that opportunity this week. What DraftKings Sportsbook is doing for all new users is they are letting you bet $1 on any team to hit a 3-point shot in any basketball game this week. And if your team hits one 3-point shot, you cash $100. That's it. Your team has to make one 3-pointer in any basketball game this week, and you'll turn that $1 into $100. It's a no-brainer. And if you want to get in on hockey, soccer, rugby, check out DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. They've paid out over $7 billion to their customers since 2012, so they know a thing or two about big paydays. So head to the App Store now, download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and use promo code DNVR to get your shot to turn $1 into $100 when you bet on any team to hit a 3-pointer in any basketball this game. That's promo code DNVR for new customers to turn $1 into $100 on any basketball team to hit a 3-pointer this week. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Winnings paid out in $4 25 free bets. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
All right, guys. Normally during this part of the show, we touch on a little bit of Broncos news, but we've already run long. So the one bit of Broncos news I'm going to give you comes from DraftKings Sportsbook. And, of course, this is a recurring theme on the show. We look at what the odds are for the Broncos to get Deshaun Watson. They are still at least in terms of DraftKings, they're still at their high water mark here at DraftKings. Broncos are plus 400 to get Deshaun Watson. They are tied with the Chicago Bears. And just behind the Carolina Panthers at plus 300 and the Houston Texans at plus 250. I actually thought yesterday after the news dropped that Deshaun had met with David Coley and told him, "Nice to meet you. Hope I don't see you again." I thought that we would see the Texans drop a little bit, but it seems like DraftKings is more interested in the Texans' position on this than Deshaun Watson's position on this. The Texans have not yet budged on their position that they're not going to trade him.
Yeah, it shocks me that the Texans are still the favorites, guys. I wouldn't touch that 250 with a 10-foot vacuum tube. Exactly. I wouldn't go anywhere close to that because, guys, wasn't the Texans' last hope that David Culley or whatever head coach they brought in was going to be able to convince Deshaun Watson to stay? Because we know it wasn't Nick Caserio. That kind of blew him up to start with. And Nick Caserio, he's been on the job for quite a while now, and there's been no mending of the relationship. So the Texans' last hope seemingly was the new head coach. Well, Deshaun met with them, and just like you said, Ryan, he said, it's nice to meet you. I hope I see you never again.
Yeah.
Well, but this bet is around where he takes his first snap of the season, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
So the thing that lingers here is something that John McClain down in Houston has talked about, that this standoff goes on and he shows up just long enough to get the year of service time.
Yeah.
So he's not losing the year, and the contract is and the clock on the contract is continuing to tick. And so that's why I think as this lingers, you're going to see the Texans remain the favorite single option, because there's going to be this in play that they get stubborn, they don't trade him, and then at the last possible date at midseason, he shows up and they end up throwing him out there for a few games later on in the year, and that's it.
Yeah, I think that's possible.
Yeah.
What I think is more possible is Deshaun shows up, says, I'm back, I'm going to play, it's week 10, and then miraculously, after his first practice with the team, he pulls his hammy and just doesn't quite feel ready to go out there the rest of the season.
Yep. And if we get to this point where either he's coming back week 10 and playing or not playing, doing an injury thing, like you said, Ryan, it's the worst look for the Texans if they really let it get to this point. But guys, the Texans aren't about good looks, so I wouldn't be shocked if it gets to this.
See, I get what you're saying, RK, on that, but I don't think Deshaun could show up in that locker room with the guys that he knows and feign an injury.
But Mace, at this point,
that doesn't seem like him.
Mace, but we're talking about him missing, 9 weeks up until this point. I'm sure the locker room, it wouldn't be best friends with him anymore, and they would understand what he was doing. But I mean, it's not like he would be welcomed with open arms from everyone, I don't think.
Well, if they're struggling, they might welcome him with open arms, and there's a difference between holding out for a better situation, guys understanding that. Then once you're in that locker room and you're looking guys in the eye and you've shown up to work, that's something where I think Deshaun in his gut wouldn't fake an injury to get out of playing with those guys, that he'd go out there and play.
All right, guys. It's time for our new game, which I think everyone is going to be very excited about. We wanted to figure out a way to get more DNVR members involved in the show. So periodically on this show, we're going to let a DNVR member enter the red zone.
The red zone, welcome to it.
And what it is a trivia contest against us. So you have your opportunity here. Wow, that was intense. You have your opportunity here to join us and go through 3 levels of trivia. And if you can conquer us, you're going to get your choice of a bunch of different cool DNVR themed prizes. Now, I haven't even thought of the prizes yet, to be honest, because I just don't think anyone can win this. But it's going to be fun either way. The way it works is you start against Zach with trivia about the current Broncos or current era of Broncos. If you conquer him in 2 out of 3 questions, you move on to me. You go against me for 2 out of 3 about the Broncos from the year 2000 until now. If you beat me, you get to take on the final boss,
the Mace.
Andrew Mason. You get to meet the Mace. And if you can beat him 2 out of 3 questions about anything Broncos of all time, then you are not only the Broncos trivia champion of the world, but you get a sweet prize. Lindsay in the comments says a Broncos country glass. It's got to be way better than that because
the degree of difficulty on
yeah.
this should be pretty tough.
This is like scaling Mount Everest at this point.
Yeah, like a gift card to the DNVR bar that never expires.
Well, that seems dangerous.
Mace is just giving everything away now.
I'm thinking like maybe like a lifetime subscription. That might be
okay.
that might be
all
in the
right.
cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's bring on the very first challenger as we enter the red zone.
Hey,
Our guy Eamon Badwin,
Hey.
long-time DNVR member. What's up, Eamon?
Hey, man, Eamon.
My dudes, what's going on?
What's up?
You
I'm
know
a little
or get yourself
nervous
into?
right now. That was quite a setup. The red zone, the final boss. I feel like this is like Halo on legendary setting right now.
That's basically what it is when you eventually go up against Mace in the final round. Did you know what you were getting yourself into?
Say it again.
Did you know what you were getting yourself into here?
I knew that I was doing trivia and I will be going around and going against you guys from what Zach told me, but I didn't know it would be. I mean, I knew I couldn't get past Mace, so I figured it'd be the final boss. The dude knows, like, he's gonna know things from the '60s. I don't have no idea about.
Yesterday when I talked to Eamon, he said I gotta study, and I'm like, I don't know if there's any studying you can do, any last minute cramming for this.
Yeah, I will tell you, if you make it to the final question, you will definitely need to know about the Broncos in the 60s. But Lindsay here says we can have a giveaway per level completed. So if you can beat Zach, which it was a toss-up between me and Zach who was going to be the first level. I don't want to act like Zach is, chump change here.
Ryan threw me on rookie level.
If you can beat Zach, you have a chance to get a prize. So, Mace, I believe you have the questions for the first level.
All right. Yes, I do. And it's the current era. So
let me tell them too.
Yes, go ahead.
It's just whoever blurts it out. There's no like raise your hand, Brett, hit your buzzer.
Okay.
Good to know. Just yell it out. And I'll be the judge for this one of who said it first.
Zach, you can put your mic on mute for a little bit, Zach.
I can mute myself. I love it.
All right. First question. Last year, we'd like to forget about it. The Broncos were a fountain of turnovers. How many games last year did the Broncos have 2 or more turnovers?
10.
13.
Zach, you're correct.
Right on the nose.
10 games. 2 or more giveaways for the Broncos.
You could say I know my Broncos. You could say I'm lucky. Who knows?
It's like it's your job or something.
Zach, did you know that one, or was that a guess?
Of course I knew it, Ryan. Of course.
Okay. All right. Well, this is
keep up the illusion, Zach. You gotta say, I
exactly. Of course.
This is. I'm scared a little bit now for my guy Eamon here.
Okay.
All right, you got to win 2 in a row here.
All right, here we go. Of all the quarterbacks who've played for the Broncos in the post-Peyton Manning era, which one has the highest passer rating?
Trevor Siemian.
Is that not it?
Well,
did he get it?
Wait.
I want to change it. Oh well.
Yeah, go ahead if you want to change it.
It's blurred. It's blurred. So go ahead.
You don't just blurt off all the names.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Brett Rippon.
Zach,
see, I was gonna go with Brett, but I'll go with my guy Trev.
Both of you are incorrect.
Is it Paxton Lynch?
No.
Joe
Flacco.
Oh my gosh. The 2-6 record just really clouds that.
I took that out of my memory. I don't even know.
Exactly. See, that's when I went through this. I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah. And Case Keenum is next best, guys. Believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I hope you came with 4 questions, Mace.
I can come up with one on the fly. But,
okay.
All right. Here we go. When was the last time the Broncos hit the over on their season win total?
2016.
18. Wait, 19. Sorry.
Nope.
Neither.
2015.
What?
Yeah.
No.
In 2019,
Oh my
and I'm
gosh.
going by the numbers that they have on.
Unfair question. Current day
Yeah.
Broncos. You said
Well,
before the
I'm-
show was Super Bowl
Yeah,
after.
I'm going by Pro Football Reference. So do you want me to ask you another one then? Because Pro Football
Absolutely.
Reference has the over/under for the season. In 2019, the Broncos had a push at 7.
Yeah.
All right.
I figured 2019 was the closest thing since we tanked the other years.
Yeah.
With
Also-
Drew.
Yeah. Also, Zach had an advantage there because I didn't even tell Eamon that current era Broncos meant post Peyton Manning. But then
Yeah.
I guess Eamon had the advantage there because Zach already knew that it was post Peyton Manning.
Yeah. All right. All right. This question. In which month last season did the Broncos generate the most takeaways?
November.
December.
Correct.
Oh, there we go.
And Zach, you were way off because you know how many takeaways the Broncos generated in December?
One.
Yeah, I
One
remember
takeaway from 4 games.
the emotional roller coaster of the Broncos season. Exciting, disappointing January, warms up, not January, sorry, September, warms up in October, gets really hot in November, and then just plummets in December. Outside of 2019, that's how it's been.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. This comes down to the final question.
All right. Final question.
Mace is looking it up on the fly.
I'm looking up on the fly because I need to go to a 5th question here. Final question. Who led the Broncos in passes defensed last year?
Shelby Harris. Oh no, that would be
It's gonna be
Bryce Callahan.
It's gonna be Ooj. No,
both wrong.
Simmons.
Simmons.
I was gonna go with Simmons. I know he led in interceptions, but I thought for some reason Ooj had so many missed interceptions. I was like, it's gotta be.
So do passes knocked down at the line not count as passes defensed?
They do.
Okay.
They do count. Shelby had 7 last year.
Second.
Yes. Shelby was second behind Justin. Then right after that, you get into AJ Boye, OJ Mudia with 6 also.
All right, Mace, as a tiebreaker here,
Yeah.
I'm going to have you ask a question that is numbers related. We'll go Price is Right rules.
Okay.
Well,
So
no, we're not going to go Price is Right rules because
Yeah.
it's too easy in a 2-man game for someone to just go 1 over, 1 under.
Just closest to the pin.
Closest to the pin on either side. Give them a number, a stat, whatever, and that's going to decide this tie.
Best
All
of
right.
luck, Eamon.
Okay. So we both get to answer here.
You both get to answer this question. Yes. Number of receptions by Noah Fant last year.
54.
Eamon?
I think 57.
Oh.
Eamon, you win!
Oh!
62! Off by 5. Great bid, and you did win by Price is Right rules too.
Wow. Look
You
at that.
got me.
That was nerve-wracking.
That was a battle royale, gentlemen. Thank you.
Zach has been eliminated. Look at the little graphic. It's so good.
Look how sad that is.
All right.
Oh man.
I think he's got himself a Broncos country glass.
There we go. I love it.
You know, I've been eyeing those, so perfect.
They're pretty sweet.
Awesome.
I'm happy I
And you
could
can
help
just
you with that, Eamon.
Add it to your little memorabilia deck back there.
Yeah, I got my Super Bowl 50s football that I got signed at the Hall of Fame weekend.
Awesome.
That's where I met you, Ryan. But
You
then
didn't ask
Mace,
me to sign it.
Yeah.
well, it was if you played on the team, maybe. But Mace, I actually saw you that weekend. You were walking by twice, and I pointed at you and said, "That's my boy Mace." And that's before you joined the DNVR.
I'm sorry I didn't hear, but hopefully we'll connect again. And maybe are you gonna go to Hall of Fame this weekend this year or try to?
Man, I really want to if it's open and everything is back to where it needs to be, because that was so much fun last time, and meeting all the players, meeting all the DNVR family that was there. It was dope, man. I really had a good time.
Yeah, that's one thing I really hope is normal, because between Peyton and Steve, it's gonna be a party, man. Can't wait.
And seeing John there, and then seeing Champ, and then Also John Lynch. Like,
Yeah.
that's like what I grew up watching. So it'd be amazing to see all those guys there.
Those weekends are going to be kind of like family reunions for Broncos history almost, especially this year with somebody going in, because you'll have all the legends are going to come back for that. So
Love
Yeah,
it. All right,
sure.
let's move on to the second level of the red zone.
Ryan, and you're very lucky that I'm going to be nice to you right now because I'm furious after that. I should just go to all my hard questions, but I'll start with what I have categorized as an easy question. All right, Ryan and Eamon, are you ready?
Yes.
So
Let's do
Eamon, this is 2000 to present day, just to give you about 20-year window.
Okay.
Wow. All right. That'll get you
I
going.
made it.
What Broncos player once intercepted 4 passes in
Delta
a game?
O'Neal.
Oh, wow.
Come on. Give the kid a chance to talk.
Easy. Ryan, that's how I started too, and Eamon came
True.
back on me. He's
True.
like the bubble Denver Nuggets.
Yes.
All right, moving up to the medium level questions. In 2006, the Broncos drafted Jay Cutler. In the same draft, they also got 2 players that went on to make 5 or more Pro Bowls. Who are those players?
Brandon Marshall.
That's him. 2006.
You may have got one. I don't know. Tough
He said
one.
how many Pro Bowls did they make?
5. They each
Combined
made
or each?
No, each made at least 5.
Oh my gosh, why can't I remember?
Do we want to
I'm
give
gonna
it?
go with Elvis Dumerville and Brandon Marshall.
Oh, Eamon got it.
Yes.
That's right. I could
The
not
facts
find,
machine.
I
could
was
not
this
find
close-
Dumerville in my
I was-
head.
I was this close to saying just the facts, gentlemen, just the facts.
That would have been good.
Oh.
Yes.
Man, I had to dig deep for that one. I was like, who made Pro Bowls in that era? Wow, that was a hard question.
I knew it had to be on the defensive side, and I was working my way from the back of the defense to the front. Never got to Doom.
All right, guys. This one, we'll see how it comes in. All right. Name the 2 former Browns top 3 draft picks.
Courtney Brown and Ebenezer Ekubon. Courtney Brown is one of them.
So name the 2 former Browns top 3 draft picks of defensive linemen that
Something Warren?
signed in 2005, along with former Browns defensive linemen Ebenezer Ekubon and Michael Myers, to give the Broncos the nickname the Broncos.
Oh my God.
Eamon, you
Brown and-
are so.
I want to say something Warren.
That may be close enough. I think we give it to him. Courtney Brown and Jared Warren.
Yes.
Wow. Let's give it to him. I'll take the L. I'll take that L.
Wow.
Ryan, he came back on both. He really is the bubble Nuggets.
I'm nervous now.
Madden,
really
Madden
nervous.
06. Madden 06 was my jam. So that was the D line.
No, wait. No. Do we want to? Lindsay brings up a good point. Do we want to do this Jeopardy style and make sure the entire question is asked before anyone blurts it out?
That would be great.
I don't know. That was pretty impressive. I gotta
Yeah.
say, I just said 2
Yeah.
Browns defensive linemen. He was
Yeah.
almost on it.
I literally didn't have a guess for one of them, so I happily take the L right there. All right. If you can beat him on this one, we will have been very bad at contriving
Yes.
this segment.
Mhm.
What's my reward for this round? Do I get a?
Oh right, what does he
DNVR
get for
cap?
this? Yeah, for beating me, I say you get a.
You
If
get the
want a hat
beer
or a
inside
shirt,
the cup.
yeah. You want the hat? We'll give you the hat. All right.
Awesome. That's a sick hat.
Okay, this starts on the easier side. So if you're gonna get one, I feel like you gotta get it now. I also didn't give myself an extra question here, which was not probably a good idea because they're very hard. All right, I will start rolling off clues. So if you know who the player is, just go ahead and say it. 6th round pick of the Broncos in 2008. Named Pepsi Rookie of the Week in Week 8 of that season, despite not having a catch or a carry. One of just 4 players in the last 30 years to start a game on both sides of
Spencer
the ball.
Larson.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah.
There it is.
That's
Yeah,
a
he
good-
was a fullback who won Pepsi Rookie of the Week despite not having a catch or a carry at fullback because, of course, he also started the game at linebacker for the Broncos and had 7 tackles.
In Atlanta, right?
In Atlanta,
Yeah.
Correct.
Incredible. Brian, how many more tips did you have?
That was the last one. I knew they were going to get it on that one. I could have said, went to LSU. Didn't he go to LSU?
Or did he go to? Was he? I thought he was a Western guy. Was he like maybe Arizona?
Oh, it was
State?
Arizona. It was Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're right.
LSU,
he's not gonna be-
Arizona,
He's not going to be happy with me for confusing ASU with Arizona if he finds out.
I was thinking of Jacob Hester for a second there.
Yeah. Oh, I like Jacob. He's a good dude.
Yep. Okay.
Well, Eamon, you're in a very familiar position, down 0-1.
He's Mr. Comeback. He's the John Elway of trivia.
For real.
You know what? I think I'm going to go to my last question here because I think it's easier than my second question.
All right.
Okay.
Who scored the game-winning touchdown in the Denver Broncos' first ever game?
Gene Mingo.
I don't know.
Got
Yeah. There you go.
Got it.
Wow. Wow.
That's bring a favor, Gene Mingo, though, by the way. The
Yep,
most
he also-
versatile player in Denver Broncos history. Was that your theme today, RK? Was guys who did multiple things? Because you had Mingo who could catch passes, kick, punt, and then of course Larson, Mr. Two-Way.
Yes. The last question did not involve a versatile Bronco, but yeah, Gene Mingo kicked the extra point on the Broncos' first touchdown, returned a punt for a touchdown for the Broncos' second touchdown, but I believe he missed the extra point on that one because the Broncos won 13-10.
Oh, nobody's perfect.
Eamon, you were almost perfect, my friend. That was impressive.
I didn't think I would make it to the end.
2 rounds. Good job.
Honestly, we might have to start colluding against the members here so we don't give away so many prizes. Me and Zach, a poor performance on our part, but a great performance from Eamon.
Yes.
I'm going to just say the last one here because I just want to see if Mace can get it.
Okay.
Eamon, if you can get it, honestly, then I might have to throw in another prize for you. Okay. Born May 18th, 1957. Went to William and Mary College. Played linebacker.
Jim Ryan.
Jesus, dude. He got it.
Who?
Jim Ryan.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So is notable today because I won't tell the full story because the person who told us this story said they want to protect his privacy. One of our members happens to live in the same neighborhood as Jim Ryan, as they just found out. And they were going for a walk and they ran into him and were like, "Are you Jim Ryan?" And he was like, "Yeah, I am." And he was like, "Oh my God, I'm a huge Broncos fan, blah, blah, blah." And Jim Ryan said, "Hey, well, let's catch a game sometime." So sounds like a really cool guy.
Awesome.
Yeah,
He
he
is a
does.
cool guy.
Broncos linebacker from 1979 to 1988, his entire career as a Bronco.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Well, Mace, now the people know what they're up against. I don't know if anyone has a chance. I thought that one was going to be too hard. I thought I was going to need an extra question.
I was a little nervous because I am the first, to jump into the red zone, and I was like, wow, like when you guys pulled it up, I was like, wait, I have a disadvantage being the first person right now. But I did okay. Well,
You did incredible.
You did great. You did great, Eamon. You put Ryan and I to shame.
We had to use our last line of defense.
Yeah. Here's the problem. Like, this is what I do late at night sometimes. Last night I was doing some late night reading. This is the Game Mag program from 1976, Buccaneers at Broncos at Mile High Stadium. And this is just what I sit there sometimes reading at night to wind down.
Very different from the other magazines that people read late at night.
I thought you were going to say you read, Ryan. Wow, okay.
yeah.
I'm a nerd.
Well,
I'm sorry. I can't help it.
Wait, I had a question for Mace.
Yeah.
Oh, go for it.
Mace, what's your North Carolina connection? Because I am in North Carolina, Raleigh, and went to Millbrook for high school, went to ECU for college. So I'm always curious because you talk a lot Carolina a lot.
Okay, well, my dad's side of the family is entirely in North Carolina, around Wake County. My dad grew up outside of Wake Forest, and when I was a kid, I played basketball, believe it or not, and I went to North Carolina's basketball camp for like 5 summers.
Nice.
And that just that's where that took, between that and a lot of family members that followed the team. Even though I always lived elsewhere, that Tar Heel basketball is kind of always my connection to my roots and where I'm from and where my family's from. And so that's on that side. My mom's from England, so that's how I got into that. And I mean, to this day, I never miss a game, although I wish I would have missed that game 2 nights ago. So
Cool, man. That's good to know. That's awesome.
Hey, Eamon, thank you for coming on and for a great effort as the first member to enter the red zone.
I appreciate you, my guys, and keep doing what you're doing. And looking forward to next Friday's show and see what you guys got cooked up.
Right on,
Eamon.
Eamon,
Thank you, Eamon.
You made it to the 5-yard line. You were so close.
I was the 1999 Titans today, so it was pretty good.
Good, right? The guy knows his stuff.
He does.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see you later, Eamon.
Later, guys.
All right, guys. Awesome show. Great guests. Shout out to Lindsay Jones and Eamon for joining us. Thank you, Mace, for saving us as our free safety over the top.
If this is going to be me preventing us from giving a huge prize package, I mean, this is it's pressure, but I guess it's what you brought me in for, right? To handle the high pressure situation. So
every time you save us, just add a beer to my tab at the DNVR bar. I'll buy it for you.
When we were talking about this game, just to give people a background, we were talking about creating this game a couple of weeks ago. Mace said, "Wait, why do I have to be the last line
We're
defense?"
like, what do you mean?
And now I think he understands.
Now I get it. Okay, yeah.
Did you know the answer to all of my questions as well?
Yeah.
The Broncos one, that was a real blind spot for me. I didn't even have a guess.
Honestly, I was surprised you didn't get it because, I mean, your stuff on the Broncos, RK. I was surprised that you didn't get that. And the funny thing is, like, as you guys were like, he was stumbling around with Warren a little bit. I wanted to yell like, Gerard Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was Gerard Warren was a funny dude. I'll never forget covering that guy. He was like, he's, backwoods Florida, country boy, country wisdom. He was hilarious to talk to in the locker room too.
Yeah, I completely, as a total blind spot. I do remember Ebenezer Ekubon because he ended up doing some TV later, right? He hung around Denver for a while.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he even briefly, I did some stuff, kind of was an intern doing some player program stuff with the Broncos as well. But that guy, he looked like he was going to have a really good season in 2007. I believe he ruptured his Achilles in the preseason at Dallas, and it wasn't quite the same for him after that. So he dealt with a tough break. Also, to go piggyback on what Eamon mentioned, went to North Carolina, did Ebenezer Ekubon.
Oh, nice.
How about that?
It all comes full circle.
And it all comes full circle with a comment from Adele coming in, says, "Can we talk about Deshaun Watson now? Just bring the show full circle, guys."
Plenty of more Deshaun Watson talk coming on Monday on the DNVR Broncos podcast, which, of course, you can download anywhere you listen to podcasts. Here's the final results of our Build Your Broncos. You guys can vote on who built the best team here in a few minutes after I tweet it out. But for now, we finish with a shout out to Green Mountain Dental Group, where you can get a free Sonicare toothbrush when you get a cleaning, x-ray, and exam from Green Mountain Dental Group. They'll treat you like family because they're part of our family. They're part of the DNVR family. They supported us through the entirety of the pandemic, which is it means a lot to us as a small business, and they're a small business as well. So check them out, Green Mountain Dental Group. Get that free Sonicare toothbrush when you schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam. That wraps it up for us today. Thanks to everyone who watched. Hit us with a thumbs up on YouTube if you enjoyed the show. But for now, we will catch you guys later.